Yo, welcome back to the Mission to Wealth podcast. I'm your host, Tim Yu, and I got a super dope guest today. His name is Ben Huang, and he's one of my good friends, right? And this guy is super awesome. I talk a lot about real estate on this podcast, but today I'm going to bring on the maestro of business buying. This guy has done numerous deals buying businesses with zero money down, and he does it creatively. So without further ado, let's get into it. Ben, what's up, brother?
Tim, thank you so much. I am so excited to be on your podcast. I've been thinking about it for a long time. So thank you for inviting me over.
Dude, 100%, man. I'm super excited to have you on because, not a lot of people understand that you can buy businesses with zero money down and you can do it creatively, like how we buy real estate. So what have you got going on, bro?
Good, good. So, like really, it's the past year that I discovered this superpower of mine. I found that buying businesses has a lot more meaning to me compared with buying real estate. Before I buy businesses, I have been buying multifamily, like single family creatively. But only when I got to business buying, I realized that this is a game that involves more people. We're actually helping people in the way that I see people being helped tremendously. And of course, we can dive into details down the road. But really, this has ignited my interest and also excitement for investing.
Yeah, so it sounds like that doing this business buying route has given you more fulfillment than just doing real estate transactions. So can you kind of like dive into like the purpose of you pursuing this business buying stuff?
Yeah. So the main reason why I'm buying businesses is that I see the problem that have been surrounding us for a long, long time and has not been addressed or has failed to be addressed. Right. So imagine you being a homeowner and you're trying to hire a subcontractor, no matter it's a landscaper or roofer or HVAC plumber or whatever it is. Think about how many calls you need to make before you even get to talk to someone on the phone. And from statistic, it's like 10 people you have to reach out, and you'll probably get about 4 people who jump on a call with you, and about 3 people give you a quote, and 2 people actually show up, and you'll be hope and pray that those 2 people are not trying to scam you, overprice you, or whatever. So that has
Mm,
been one main pain point that I see as most of the homeowner are facing. And so I think my goal is to address that in a way that have never been done. So that's number one, that I'm helping homeowner. And number two is that I noticed that there are business owners who are getting to 50s, 60s, 70s even. They lose their initial passion about running the business, but they have kind of this long-term team member or employee that have been working with them for decades. And that's kind of keeping them going. Like they want to retire, but they cannot, because the moment they retire, they close down the business, everybody go being laid off and all that. And that's also bad for homeowners, because homeowner
yeah.
or the clients that they have will lose one option, right? So that's the second group. And the third group is homelessness. And really, I see a lot of people in special Subto community are addressing homeless issue in terms of housing. So we got help coming for homeless people to be housed. However, the moment they move into the house, they start worrying. Why? Because a lot of time they have 30 days, 60 days, 90 days before they have to start paying. Otherwise, they will lose the housing. And it's so hard for them to find a job. So
Yeah.
the third group of people that I'm helping is those less fortunate people. In some cases, it's homeless people, and in a few cases, it's veterans group of people who just trying to come back to a society, and they may find to be challenging at some point. To be honest, about 4 days, like
Amazing, bro. Amazing. Wait,
that.
so Hold
Good.
on. So what business was it? Was it your landscaping business or?
Yeah. So far I have bought three businesses. One business is landscaping company. The second company is cleaning company, and the third one is a laundromat.
Wow.
The first one I bought was zero money down. The second and third one was zero money in. Essentially, there's no money that we put in for acquisition.
Amazing. Okay. So before we dive into like the business acquisition side, I definitely want to kind of touch base real quick about your mission, right? It's absolutely awesome that you have multiple people in mind and how you're going to help them with this one solution of acquiring the right businesses, right? You know, there's a lot of people in our community, like you said, that are trying to combat the affordability issues or the homelessness, right? Especially veteran, like for myself, right? I want to do affordability for veterans. So I feel like our interests are definitely aligned where if I can acquire a property near one of your businesses, that's like a 2 for 1 stone right there. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Absolutely incredible. So I appreciate you sharing that. And like, that's an amazing mission, bro. So thank you. Second of all, let's go into the acquisition side of the house, bro. Obviously, you've done a lot of different types of deals, a lot of different deal structures. If you were trying to get into the business acquisition side or business buying for the beginners out there, what would be the first steps that you would take to find motivated sellers?
If I may take a step back in terms of acquisitions, I think the one of the biggest mistake that I made was that before I jump into business buying, what I'm thinking about is the cash flow, the profit.
Mm.
And I'll be dead honest with you. I was looking for a much more profitable asset to buy, to own. And later on, I learned that is that is kind of the big mistake that I made. So what I'm saying is, before we dive into business buying, we really need to self evaluate why we're buying a business. There's nothing wrong with going in to buy businesses for profit.
Mm-hmm.
However, you need to foresee whether the business model is what you can run, what you are comfortable owning, and all that. Like in real estate side, a lot of property that's being bought creatively and whatnot, it's kind of standardized process. And the common operation is as soon as you close on the property, you rent it out and you just manage tenant, right? No matter if you buy a single family, duplex, fourplex, apartment complex, even RV park, mobile home parks, same thing. You try to find a tenant and that's it. But for business buying, it's very different. When you buy a business, you're taking over the team, the payroll. You're taking over the responsibility to serve the client. You're also taking over the responsibility of continuing the legacy of the previous owner. And that's a very different thing. So one big mistake that I made was I just go on and acquire and looking at the cash flow, profit, and all that thing. And I just quickly acquire until I close on my third deal. To be honest, like I acquired the first three businesses within 4 months. And
Holy cow.
I have another three businesses that are line up ready to close. And I was just figuring out, hey, I cannot do that. Like I can close on them, but after closing on them I cannot operate.
Yeah.
So I choose not to move forward with the process or the closing process, and I take a step back. So really, that's the biggest lesson that I learned. Before anybody go on to acquire a business, that is one thing they should think about.
No, 100%. And I do thank you for bringing that up because obviously I don't want people to listen to podcasts or go on social media and get shiny object syndrome. Basically, wow, this business buying thing is really cool and I want to make a lot of money. Like you can definitely make a lot of money in business buying and you can make a lot of money in real estate. But the biggest thing that people don't realize with businesses, and I love how you brought this up, is the different levels of a business, right? Like some businesses have C-suite executives already, they have middle management already in place. So when you buy those companies, obviously you're going to buy at a way higher valuation because they're on autopilot, right? The problem is a lot of these people who are buying from these sellers, and you can tell me if I'm wrong because obviously you're more in the business. When you're dealing with mom and pop sellers, which is who we're going to target for these business acquisitions, they usually don't have that management team in place. They don't have the systems. So yes, it may be profitable, but you have to be careful when you buy this business. If the owners leave, are you in a shit sandwich or can it run by itself?
Exactly. So that's a great point. And to be honest, like for the people that we're trying to serve, most of them will have no system. And so you will see a lot of people going out there trying to so-called flip the business, right? They want to go in and buy something that has system in place, operator in place, and go in and do some improvement and then sell it at a higher price, right? That is not what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to do is I have a much bigger vision that I'm trying to serve. I want to retire the old business owner who have been doing great job serving the community, keep that service available to the community. At the same time, put in our existing system and have them be more efficient, have them be able to serve more people, have them be able to provide a better services. And I'm buying those businesses with the mindset that I'm going to revolutionize how people hire a subcontractor instead of going in, buy a business, and then flip it in a year or two.
100%. Like you're building this business portfolio to serve the people instead of you rolling it up and selling to a private equity firm.
Exactly.
Yep. For people that don't know what we're talking about, there are investors that buy, let's use landscaping companies, because that's been the most popular one that I've been hearing, where they buy a landscaping company and then they also buy other landscaping companies and merge those companies together, which is called a roll up, right? And then that's one type of thing. And then the other one is that private equity companies will buy these companies and cut costs, right? To raise the valuation of the business, which means firing people, which means doing all these things that you don't want to talk, like, that people don't want to talk about. And then they sell these companies for a higher valuation, right? Like it's like fix and flipping a business. And that's not what he's doing. So it's a big distinction. I just wanted to kind of tell the audience like the big difference between it.
Yeah, and that is a tremendous point. And to be honest, Tim, I really appreciate that we're pushing the conversation toward this direction, because there are so many people teaching you how to creatively buy businesses out there, and that's information out there you can learn. And if you're interested and you're listening in, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be happy to share everything that you need to know about for creative business buying. But really what we're talking about here is not something that people would talk about, right? One point that you brought up was one thing that really shocked me when I just getting into business buying. One of the business I look at before I close on my first business acquisition was actually a junk removal, or like one of those dumpster rental business. And I was so shocked because I was actually in a market that has a lot of population, and 5 years ago, there were like 10 different dumpster rental company available. But 5 years later, there's only 3 right now. All the other businesses were actually acquired by the Wall Street company.
Wow.
And what happened was, the moment they close on the business, they will pay it with cash. They will buy it with cash. So the owner will love it, and they will typically get okay price. And because they pay cash, they will cut your price. But anyway, that's what Wall Street does. Wall Street buy your company, and the next day they will just cut everything by 50%, and literally everything by 50%. Meaning all the containers or the dumpster available in the fleet, they're just going to throw it out. And I'm saying literally, you can see in the dump yard, there are tons of dumpster containers sit there, and those are new. And 50% of the employee got cut, and 50% of the clients were told, you need to find another vendor. And I'll tell you why. Because Wall Street is doing that to make a loss. for them to write off their profit that they make out of stock market or whatever.
Bro, that is crazy, man. That
I
is
was shocked.
crazy. I feel like, man, we need to have a business where we're just picking up these old containers from the junkyard, bro.
By the way, the company that I was going to acquire, they literally told me that they are in the mindset not to sell Wall Street, and they were uh they were they were there on the site the day the Wall Street is dumping the dumpster container.
Wow.
They just pick it up.
Yeah, see, literally, I'm just like,
Is that
that's
essentially?
free cost.
I was asking them, how come you guys got so many container? And that owner was just telling me this story. 5 years ago, there's like 10, like dumpster company, and they just all show up in the dump yard, and I just pick them up. It's crazy.
Bro, do you know what's crazy to me? When I moved out from Maryland, I actually hired a dumpster guy, right? He comes over, he drops off a dumpster. So he drives 30 minutes, drops the dumpster off, and drives away. And he comes, picks it up later, like a week later, and he charged me $300, bro, for a small container. And I'm like, when I thought about it, I'm like, I feel like I want to buy one of these companies because it's super low overhead, especially if you can get those containers for free at those dumpsters. But that's the way, like, I think. I'm like, wow, I just spent $300 on this guy, like, dumping off a container. I'm like, just do like 10 drops a day. Dude, how much money? You know what I mean? How much money is that?
Exactly.
Bro, crazy.
And I was talking to the owner, and the owner was telling me that they used to have like seven employee, and they have like
Mhm.
7 truck, basically seven driver, and each of them will have a route, and they typically would do like 7 18 drop off every day or pick up every day. But right now they only got 2, and I was like, what happened to the other 5 people? They are taking government handout. They're
Or they
choosing
just
not to
left.
work. Yeah, just left. They make more money than working.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
I feel like a lot of businesses, it's, like landscaping companies, the dumpster companies. I think the biggest problem is you're not actually in the dumpster business or the landscaping business. You're in a hiring business, right? You got to hire the right people that actually believe in what they're doing, that buy into whatever business you're doing, because like there's tons of people that need their lawns cut.
Yes.
You physically, if we are great marketers, like you spend the right money, optimize campaigns, we can get a lot of clients, right? So if I feel like I buy a landscaping company, I can make it extremely marketable. The problem is I probably don't have the labor to cut all the lawns. And I know you own a landscaping company. So I kind of want to like pick your brain if you agree on that or not.
Yeah, please. I I think that's a very good flow because people is the key for business buying. Literally, I think it's Monday or Tuesday, or no, sorry, last Friday. There's a lady in our community. She was about to get into a conversation with a business owner and negotiate and all that, and that's going to be her first business buying. And she was just requesting a meeting with me, and I was like, okay, let's jump on a call. Although I like, since many people like try to ask me about business buying, like I
Mm-hmm.
now actually, to protect my time, I actually charge people. But since she is in the community, I basically just trying to offer help. So she and I got on a call on Friday, and she was like, Benjamin, this is a deal, and this is a situation, blah 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 blah. Like she was talking about like the deal 15 minutes and nonstop, and just keep telling me all the information, do the information dump. And the moment I get a chance to talk, I just told her that, hey, this is business buying is about people. It's about what people think, what people want,
Yeah.
and how people will react. So she's looking at the deal as a deal itself. Like how's the business model, and how's the equipment, how's the location, all that thing. While she is not even caring, knowing, understanding the owner. I asked
Wow.
her, do you know why the owner is trying to sell the business? She doesn't know. And I asked, okay, you only know he's trying to sell. Do you know what he's going to do after he sells? If you don't, how are you going to pitch? How are you going to structure the deal in a way that will work out?
I agree, because it's just like creative finance for a property, right? Like, I think when I first met you, I did the same thing. I said, Benjamin, I got this deal, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, bro, what does the seller want? Because we can't structure a offer that solves their problem, right? Because ultimately, like, everyone says, hey, we do these offers, or we buy these properties, we buy these businesses to solve a problem. We're solving the seller's problem, right? That's why they want to sell it to a seller finance. And everybody comes up to me now and is like, Tim, can you help me structure this deal? Creative finance. And I'm like, what does the seller want? What do you mean? Right? Because how do we get these deals? Like, I paid this guy $10,000. Well, how did I find out that it was $10,000 he needed to walk away with on his seller finance? Because I asked the question. It's the same thing with the business. You gotta ask them, bro, why are you selling this business? Well, I'm old and I'm tired. And I'm sure you've done deals where, like, the seller is like, well, this is my retirement. And have you ever given equity to the seller to get the
So
deal done?
that's a tremendous question. And Tom, like, this question can only be asked by someone who is so good on creative deal structuring. So I'm so proud of you. And I still remember the first conversation that you and I had. And I so appreciate the friendship that we get to, build throughout. But to answer your question, I have been structuring the deal in the way that I provide so-called royalty to the
Amazing.
previous owner in the way that they are not having the ownership. They have the basically right for a certain profit share, right? So first, they're not carrying any liability. Second, they're not part of the owner. I don't need his agreement or authorization to make decision. And number three, he doesn't need to worry about the business at all, and it's become a mailbox money, right? And typically, when you put the owner in that position, the owner will be so thrilled in the sense that, oh my God, I get to retire. I don't need to deal with all the shit, all the team, all the right, like all kind of problem. I just sit at home and collect mailbox money from a company that they cannot sell.
Yeah, they couldn't sell it. They are probably getting paid almost like, especially if you optimize the business so well that you're increasing profit margins to the point where they're making as much or just a little bit under, or maybe even more money than they were making when they were working full time.
Exactly.
And it's like,
Exactly.
and they can't even believe it, right? Because, like, if they're getting paid like $1,000 a month cash flow, like running the business, you can triple the business, and now they're getting paid like $1,500, $2,000 based off royalties, and they're not involved at all.
Exactly. Exactly.
My
And
gosh.
I'll tell you one more magic. When you put people in those positions, first of all, they feel like they're well taken care of. And my goal is for them to retire, but not to retire. Meaning a lot of owners want to physically retire, but they are not mentally retired. And what I mean is there's one thing that I am building surrounding my overall business acquisition portfolio. Basically, a quick step back. I have a business called Boston Home Service that was essentially the umbrella company that owned all the small business unit. And when a seller sell their companies, they are the one who have been doing the work for like decades, right?
Yeah.
These people are going to be our teachers. In the schooling system, they were going to put around the business for veterans, for homeless people or less fortunate people to come in and learn, be paid to learn from the most experienced owner who had been doing work for many decades.
In that
So,
niche.
yes. So with that, they still get to see their customer. They're in the business. They can help us, guide us. in case there's any niche that we don't know or we need to know. We get to better inherit the relationship with the clients, with the vendor, with everybody. And also we get to use their or leverage their knowledge to train the worker in the sense that nobody else can be better teaching,
Yeah.
right? And there is also a creative structure right there. What I'm doing is, if you are one of the retiring owner who come back to be our teachers, you will get 1% of every single student's pay. So if you train 100 students and all the students are performing and 1% of what they make is going to you, you are still getting paid by teaching. You are
Like,
teachers. And
yeah,
hey,
and that
that is
incentivizes them to train them.
exactly. And that is a retirement catch up with inflation.
Teach more students. Also, when they get pay raises within the company structure, you get a pay raise because it's 1% of their pay.
Exactly.
Genius.
Exactly. So what I'm structuring the whole thing is that, first of all, I am buying the business in the sense to help them operate better with a better system to serve more people. And second, to best use of all the people, all the peoples. So the reason why I'm trying to serve three group of people, right? The homeowner, the less fortunate people, and also the retiring business owner. There are people who come to me and say, Benjamin, you have to pick one niche, one group of people that you're trying to serve. But how
Nah.
I'm seeing is it's become the core three pillar that one can help the other. Yeah. So
Yeah, because
essentially, yeah, go on, please.
no, because I was gonna say, like, if you're helping people, especially the homeless people, you get them into these jobs, right? They can afford their rent. You're buying these, or you're retiring these owners, right? That are desperately trying to retire, and then because you have these employees with these good services, these companies, you can provide that fair treatment to homeowners, right? Like, my gosh, like a HVAC. How many people call HVAC guys and they come out there and they're like, to replace your HVAC is like $12,000. And the
Exactly.
homeowner has no idea that we can get new HVACs for like $7,000. Like,
Exactly.
they just
Exactly.
don't know, and they're just gonna get chumped on, right? Because they don't know how much an HVAC costs, and
Yeah.
I think that's so freaking awesome, bro.
And Tim, what you just said actually just perfectly put me into the next phase where I'm was going to share about.
Amazing.
To the end of the day, when when we revolutionize how people hire a subcontractor, it's going to be one QR code for each homeowner. Essentially, you no longer need to figure out, okay, the problems in your house, is it a plumber issue, or is it an electrician issue, or is it a HVAC issue, or whatever. You scan the QR code, you take a pictures on whatever wrong with your house, you upload it, and we will figure it out for you and send the appropriate person over to address it for you. And hey, the way that I'm structuring the whole thing is trying to mimic the Subto community, believe it or not, like the go-giver mentalities and also the core value. I want our company, Boston Home Service, eventually not just be the go-to home service company because of the convenience, the function, the service, but also people who hire us know exactly we are trying to help the less fortunate. So them hiring us is indirectly addressing the less fortunate challenges or homeless issue or whatever.
Yeah,
Right.
that makes a lot of sense because that's your brand, man. Like, whatever we're doing, like whatever someone's paying you guys for service, it's gonna go back to the community in some way or form.
Yes, exactly. And I envision one day when we go out to serve people, people will be so happy to see us there and come out to agree with us and say hi to us. And maybe there will even be a meetup, like basically we drive our truck into a community and basically just hang out with our clients for a day. And if there's issue, we'll address right there. And
Sure.
our clients or our customer will also give us feedbacks, donations, or help us in any way to support the less fortunate group. I see that is going to be a much bigger way to serve the purpose instead of
Yeah.
just, hey, you are hiring us because we offer 10% discount.
No, I freaking love that, dude. Dude, there's so much to unpack here. I think the conversation was so good and it went so freaking fast. This is the part of the show just because we want to keep it around 30, 40 minutes. This is part of the show where we want to spotlight you. What are you working on? What do you need help with? And tell everybody where they can find you, bro.
Thank you again for your time. I really appreciate you allowing me to be in your show. So what I do is I help old business owner retire. If you're one of the business owner who have been working in the business for decades and have no idea how to retire, or your business is just not big enough and you're not retiring because you don't want to let your people go or don't want to disappoint your clients, reach out to especially the home service business that essentially we can, go in and help you out with it. You can find me basically on Instagram, YouTube, basically all social media, and my handle is Benjamin Huang, Hung, so BenjaminHung and 14, Benjamin Huang 14. That
I'm
is
gonna
how you're
put
going
it
to find
all
me.
in the description, guys, so you guys can, if you guys want to learn about business buying, hit that link down below.
Thank you so much. And in addition, in December, I am planning to roll out a 2-day boot camp that I will allow basically 10 or 20 people to come
Yeah.
in, and essentially I'll be face to face and talk to you in terms of like what business you're currently working in, what business you're running, or what business you're trying to buy creatively. And I'll be happy to help you craft your first step in terms of conversation with the seller or conversation with your boss.
Oh my gosh, dude, I might have to come out there, man. I'm trying to buy a property management company next year, bro. I
Come
love
out.
that. Yeah, I love that, bro. Dude, so awesome for you to come on the show, dude. I appreciate the value that you've given. A lot of these, not just like the sexiness of business buying, but like the real side of it. And that's what it's all about, man. So I appreciate you coming on the show today, bro.
Likewise, Tim. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Thanks.